There he is, live. That is John Manson, my good friend, a founder, creator, all things A Sea of Red. My name is Chad Hassan. You're listening to the A Sea of Red live podcast. It's Thanksgiving week, so nobody really has a schedule that is worth anything because typically you just it's feast week. Sit back and watch hoops all week and then get drug around by your wife and kids to all the different parties and festivities. So it's kind of what we do. And then, we got men's basketball tonight. So during our normal recording hours, so we decided to do a live show, spur of the moment here, and which is great because John needs very little preparation time. He is always ready to go. John, first of all, wanted to just kind of comment on Virginia Tech, your summary, maybe some, I read your recap articles, but what were some of the things, some of the reasons that the Flames did not get it done on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously very disappointing. I think I texted you about after the Arkansas win. It was like, would you trade losses against New Mexico State and UConn to beat Virginia Tech? And I kind of said it in jest at the time because I didn't think that was possible. But sitting here today after two straight losses, I would have taken that. I would take a win over Virginia Tech and losses to UConn and New Mexico State. But so it was disappointing. I think at the end of the day, it came down to missed opportunities. Whether it was the two turnovers there late in the fourth quarter, one fumble by each of the two quarterbacks that played. When they did the fake field goal that led to a touchdown, there was a stop by Liberty's defense in the red zone on third down, but then that was wiped off by penalty and would have set up a field goal try, but ended up being a touchdown. So those were points that, kind of added into Virginia Tech's column, as well as that fake field goal did as well. And then, at the end of the day, it was just missed opportunities. I remember there was a couple plays in the first half too that, I remember one in particular. I think it was Juwan Treadwell. It was like Virginia Tech's offense was struggling right at the beginning. They went 3 and out. Then Liberty went 3 and out. Then Virginia Tech had it back, and they got stopped for a very little gain on their first down run. And then Juwan Treadwell came on a safety blitz and, was about to sack their quarterback. And, he just missed him. And that would have been 3rd and 14 against our defense and defensive line. And that's not Virginia Tech's strength is to pass. But instead, their quarterback ran and picked up about 20 yards and they scored a touchdown on that drive to get in the lead. That was just like a microcosm of the day. You look at the Brylan Green pass that he almost intercepted. It was tipped up in the air and he made a jump for it, and it would have been a great interception. But that's still one that, 7 out of 10 times he's probably going to come down with. Then there's another time, after they'd already had a safety, a possession or two later, they were backed up inside the 10, and Mike Smith missed what would have been a sack and possible safety, would have at least been down inside the 1. So it was just a tale of missed opportunities throughout the day. Then the two turnovers and I know a lot of people were questioning the decision by by Hugh Freeze to go for it on 4th and 12 there late. And, I agree. I don't think that was a good idea. I think it should have been a punt there, especially when you had Caden Salter running to the sidelines and on the sidelines on 3rd down. And, so he wasn't there mentally ready, locked in on that play. And, I think it should have been a punt. But ultimately, that decision didn't really, in my opinion, affect the game. I mean, it was the fumble by Caden Salter on the previous possession and then some of those missed opportunities. Then another one, if you remember after the fumble by Caden Salter, the very next play, Virginia Tech, the running back, bounced out to the right-hand side and picked up a few yards, but he fumbled the ball, and Ahmad Walker should have fallen on it. It looked like he was going to fall on it, but he didn't. I don't know if he tried to scoop it up and run with it rather than just falling on it, but he didn't get it, and they recovered it. So just a lot of missed opportunities. It's unfortunate, but, that's just the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah. Man, so first of all, I want to talk to you about your level of coverage for Liberty and what's your goal in covering Liberty when it comes time to criticizing the team. And just like, a lot was made about that. You and I talk about it a lot, but do you feel like that you're fair? What is your? I mean, obviously you're going to say you're fair, and I think you're fair. But what is your goal in terms of criticizing the team? Are you worried that somebody's going to steal your media credential? Are you worried that nobody's going to like you if you criticize the coaching or the team or like how do you approach that as somebody who is one a fan, but two everybody looks to your coverage and what you tweet and what you write, everybody looks to that as the standard for covering this team. So what is your approach to that? I mean, honestly, how do you cover the team and how do you let how do you set your fan bias to the side sometimes and then pull it into other articles where it makes sense? And just talk to us about your mindset with that.
Yeah, one of the things that, I kind of keep in my head is, and I have to remind myself almost daily. I had to remind myself several times this past weekend because that was a frustrating loss. Like I've shared before how much I don't like Virginia Tech. I mean, they're probably the top of my I hate to use the word hate like I just did, but I hate to use the word hate, but I loathe Virginia Tech. They're the top of my list. Them, JMU, and Coastal might be the three teams that I just do not stand. So it was very frustrating, and that all coupled in, and the social media world that we live in, everybody's so worried about instant gratification and instant results. And what have you done for me lately? What did you do today? What did you do yesterday? They don't care about a week ago. But one thing that I kind of told myself here over the last couple of days is, there's been times where you and I both, Chad, have been received criticism, if you want to call it that, from those inside the Liberty football bubble saying that we're too critical of the team at times. And then we also have gotten times where on the other side where people are saying you're too nice because you're buddy and don't want to lose access. So I think if you're getting criticized from both sides, that you're doing it right. You're right in the middle. And the other thing is, as a Sea Red continues to grow with Liberty Athletics, the platform is larger. There's more people that are listening to us, reading our stories and looking to our coverage and looking to us as the flagship, if you want to call it that, of coverage for Liberty Athletics. And the bigger the audience is, the more likely it is that people are going to criticize you or not like what you have to say. And I try to the best I can not to respond to those critics. It's hard. I did not do a good job of this weekend. I think a lot of that was due to the loss to Virginia Tech just being frustrating. But at the end of the day, I feel like, in my mind, what I think is truth is what I'll report. So if I think that Hugh Freeze made a bad decision, I'll put that out there. I did it last week against UConn. I thought the 4th and 2 play, I was fine with him going for it on 4th and 2 on that drive. But I thought the play call was bad, and I put that out in writing on the website. I thought his decision to go for it on 4th and 12 was bad. I don't think it was the end-all, be-all of the game, as I just alluded to. So I didn't think that should have been the first thing I wrote about, right? I mean, I thought it was the missed opportunities was the bigger thing. So as long as I am true to myself, as long as the Sea Reds, we're true to ourselves and what we believe to be the truth, that's what I think we should go with. And am I concerned that, Hugh Freeze or Richie McKay or Ian McCall or whoever else is going to get upset with us and go blind on us, not let us talk and have a platform? No. I mean, I think we've gotten, like we've talked about, Chad, we just celebrated our 10th anniversary. It's not our first rodeo. It's not the first time we've done this. We've been around the block for a while. Those people understand us. I think they respect us, and they know that we're not just going to trash the program just because we can and have that platform. We're going to provide what we think is fair critique, positive and negative. The good thing is there's been a lot more positive to talk about over the past few years than there has been negative. And one thing that I think as fans, and especially like I was getting to with the social media age that we live in, is we're so caught up in today and what happened today, what happened yesterday. And we forget that, 5 years ago, if you would have told me we lost to Wake Forest, UConn, and Virginia Tech by combined 5 points and we're 8-3 and have a win over Arkansas and BYU on our resume, man, we'd be like dancing in the streets, like, wow, what an amazing season, what an amazing coaching job. And we were saying that 2 weeks ago. Then all of a sudden you have these two disappointing setbacks and two disappointing losses that were so quick. I mean, I even saw people saying we should fire Hugh Freeze. Like more than one people said that on social media. And I don't know if these people are just legit trolls or what they think. Because if you think that, I don't know where you've been. You've been living under a rock or something. Same thing go for Coach McKay. There was some criticism of him, and there still is based on the team's 2-2 start. But you have to take a step back as fans. We all do take a step back at times and say, am I disappointed in the recent results, in the recent losses? Am I frustrated in those? Yeah, sure. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and jump off a cliff because we lost to Virginia Tech by 1 point.
Yeah, and John, that was awesome, man. That was a really good answer. Put you on the spot there. Didn't even prep him for this, and a great answer. I wanted to kind of give my thoughts on that as well. And overall, what I do for a Sea of Red is more of a program standpoint. Covering the basketball and the football at what level I do, and what I tweet is more of like a long-term success thing or an overall trajectory of the program. I try not to dive into the weeds too much game by game, which that's what you do. And I also saw in your article, one criticism you had that wasn't pointed out there was the use of the quarterbacks. You said that, and even Freeze admitted that in the press conference this week. But what I try to do, and why it looks like I'm such a Kool-Aid drinker, and why it looks like I'm always positive and optimistic, is because I'm looking at it from a holistic standpoint, and I'm trying not to get too wrapped up into one game, one decision. That's for you to do on the articles, and you do a great job of that. But I try to be fair and say, okay, yes, yes, there were some decisions in the game. I was like, wait, what are we doing? What are we doing? But at the same time, I tweeted this out. We are 8-3. We're bowl eligible for the 4th year in a row. There's never been, and with something about Hugh Freeze that I don't think that a lot of people give him enough credit for. What he's done to build the Lynchburg community, Liberty community bridge has been amazing. And and I see this, and that's another reason I don't get into it as much as Coach Freeze and his staff know more about football than any of us ever will. And it's not for him. If not for him, we are not in bowl conversation or contention. I don't know if it's not for him. I mean, he is the reason we are a lot there. So anyways, I just wanted to say that a lot of times when I'm making positive comments, it's because we truly are at the pinnacle of Liberty athletics. I mean, this is the golden era, and we're at the mountaintop. And if you can't step back and say, look where we've come, and you aren't positive that about the trajectory of the program, and you want to jump in the weeds every time he goes for it on 4th down, or every time he doesn't call a timeout, or every time we, then that's not the kind of coverage that we're trying to give. So,
and I'll kind of jump in there with Will's comments there about Coach Freeze and staff knowing more about football than any of us will. I agree with him. Like, I agree with his comments. There's a reason why I'm not a coach and I'm on this side of the speakerphone, if you want to call it that. I don't know the details of it. I couldn't call a play or draw up a play or motivate any players to get out there and get a win over Arkansas. Of course not. Coach Freeze is amazing. And I would love to have Coach Freeze over any coach out there in the country. I truly believe that. But at the same time, I think there is a place for criticism. Like, there's a place. Nobody is perfect, right? None of us are. We all make mistakes. And Coach Freeze has owned up to some of his mistakes he's made in game and during the season and things like that. And it's okay for us to sit back. That's part of what we do, is sit back and analyze and critique what happened during the game. And there's a place for that. But at the same time, it's one thing to be critical of a decision or a call or something like that. It's another thing to sit here and say, to get to the point where you're overly critical to the point of saying he should be fired, or he doesn't know what he's doing, or et cetera, et cetera. So there's a place to be critical, and I think Coach Freeze is open to that. Coach McKay as well, Ian McCaw as well. But at the same time, we're not going to sit here and get crazy and jump off a bridge because we lost by 1 point at home to Virginia Tech. Frustrating, yes, but we also have to take a step back and realize, like you said, the grand scheme of things, where we're at.
Yeah, awesome stuff. All right. I wanted to get your thoughts on, it is silly season, and I know that this is always like something that we need to have an opinion on it. Okay, you need to have an opinion on it. I know it's not. It's kind of one of those things you don't really want to talk about because it comes up every week, like you said. And if your coach is good at the G5 level, it's going to come up every week. So, what is your thoughts about? I guess we don't need to talk about any schools in particular. We don't need to talk about any coaches in particular. How I just ask you this: how comfortable are you right now? In terms of our coaches and their standing at Liberty, and how comfortable are you in our ability to retain them?
That's a loaded question, and I could answer it a lot of ways. First off, I'll start by saying I don't think we give him enough credit, but Ian McCaw is, and again, we sit here and say best, but I literally think Ian McCaw is, if not the best athletic director in country, he's on a short list of one of the best athletic directors in the country. Yes, he, like we were just talking about, he makes some mistakes and there's things that he doesn't see and things that he misses, but he's one of the best athletic directors in the country. As long as he is at Liberty, I'm going to be comfortable and trust in him and trust that this program is going to be headed in the right direction. Now, that doesn't always mean we're going to, have winning seasons and be winning championships and things like that, but we're going to be on that trajectory. And I trust him to make the right calls with coaching decisions. I think he's done an amazing job with Coach Freeze. If you would have told me, 4 years ago now, that when Freeze was hired, that he'd still be here 4 years 4 years later, I would have said you're crazy, because I think you and I talked about it. I'd be happy if he was here 2 to 3 years is what I was like. Please get us that long, that many recruiting classes under Coach Freeze, that much to, kind of build a foundation at the FBS level with him. But here he is 4 years later, and we're sitting here thinking, would he go to Auburn if they offered him the job? And that's a debate we could have another day, and we've had before. But to get to the program to that level in such short time, just gives so much props to Ian to getting that there. Now, I don't want Freeze to leave anytime soon. I'd love for him to be our coach for a long time. Same thing for Coach McKay on the basketball side. I love Coach McKay and want him to be around for a long time. But at the same time, if they get an opportunity, whether it's now or in 5 years or whatnot, that they think is best for them and their family, then I'll understand and won't be mad at them. I mean, Coach Freeze has been here for 4 years. He's done so much for this Liberty football program and brand that we could never repay him for what he's done. Will I be upset and disappointed personally if and when he leaves? Of course. But at the same time, I'll be able to take a step back and say, hey, good luck to you. I hope you go win a national championship wherever you go. Same thing for Coach McKay. He's been here for, 8 straight years, I think 10 total. I think he's proven how much he is a Liberty guy. He left and came back. When he could have, he had other opportunities to not just come back to Liberty, but to go to other places. He's had opportunities in the last couple of years to take Power 5 jobs offers that have been on the table, and he turned them down because he wants to be at Liberty. Now, does that mean he's going to be here forever? No, of course not. He could take a job, in March elsewhere. But I'm comfortable with where we're at. I'm comfortable with Ian McCaw. And then, all the other things that we could sit here and talk about for the next 20 minutes about the facilities, the commitment, the support. These are very good jobs, both on the football and men's basketball side. As we move into Conference USA, these are very good jobs. Top 5, maybe higher than that, jobs in the country at the G5 level. I'm comfortable with where we're at.
Man, gave me some time to plug in my laptop because it was getting ready to die. Whew, thanks for that. I would say the same thing. I'm comfortable with where we're at and retaining coaches. And if it does happen, we are, we'll be surprised and wish everyone well. But right now, as it sits, reading the tea leaves the way I'm reading them, reading the tweets I'm reading, seeing all the comments I'm seeing, reading the articles I'm reading, I'm feeling pretty comfortable right now. So can you hear me, John?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to one final topic, and that is I was looking at your articles about Cancun and the game tonight. I know that Nick and those guys previewed it on Sunday. They both said that they would be pretty happy with just getting one win in Cancun. Not happy, but that would be, they would take it. If you ask them right now, hey, if you went 1-1 in Cancun, what's your thoughts on this Cancun trip? What does this team have to prove? And, what opportunities are you seeing for them this week?
Well, I mean, it's a very tough field. These four teams in here, if you kind of ranked them, did a power rankings, you probably put Liberty fourth, unless we're just being homers and rank them ahead of Bradley. Auburn is a Sweet 16 type team. They may have Final Four type potential. They're a legit top 25 team. Northwestern is a Big Ten team. They beat Georgetown already this year. They're 4-0. It's going to be a big test. I was surprised the line was as small as it is. What is it, 4 to 3.5 or something like that? I was surprised it's that low. I would expect Northwestern to be a 7 or 8 point favorite. But I'm looking forward to the challenge tonight. I mean, let's see how these guys respond coming off a disappointing loss after a great comeback there in the second half on Friday night against Southern Miss, which I don't know. Will, you might be able to, or Nick, producer Nick, you might be able to get us an update on the Southern Miss Winthrop score. I know they're playing right now, and it was a real close game. And but anyways, yeah, there's Southern Miss is a much better team. So, but anyways, back to your question. 0-2, I'm not so much concerned about the record in these two games, whether it's 0-2 or 1-1. If we got to 2-0, that would be absolutely amazing. If we win one game, I'd be happy with that. But yeah, I'm more concerned about how the team performs. I mean, we're not going to get an at-large bid. So the only thing we're doing in non-conference play is trying to figure out our team. Who are we? What's our identity? Oh, wow. Southern Miss won by 25. They were losing by 2 at half. Sorry for that live reaction, but wow, that's a nice win for Southern Miss to get up and win by that much. I think they were losing by 2 at half to Winthrop. But yeah, anyway, so Southern Miss is a much improved team. But back to my point, I think we're not going to get an at-large bid. It's all about in the non-conference figuring out who this team is, finding our identity, improving for conference play and for the conference run. And ultimately, at the end of the day, the A-Sun's a one big bid league, and it's going to come down to 3 nights in March, early March, as to whether or not we're going to make it to the NCAA tournament. Unfortunately, for Coach McKay, that's just the state of this program right now. Is you build all season, and all that it all comes down to those 3 nights in March.
All right, there we have 2 questions in the chat that I want to get to, and then maybe one from Twitter. The first question in the chat is about let me see here. I think it was about the Conference USA schedule. When do we think we'll see that? I mean, didn't we think we were going to see that a long time ago? I think in the rumor mill, it might have said that we were looking forward to that. What do you think the hang up is, and why is it almost December and we still don't have it?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking we might get it before the end of October. Same thing with a media deal. I think they ended up staggering those two. They wanted to get the media deal ironed out first, and that came out what, 2 weeks ago now, I believe it was. So now we're just waiting on the schedule. Last I heard and last I talked to Ian about it is he still hadn't seen it, so he was waiting to see. I know they were talking about possibly having week 0 games, conference games. As they got this midweek deal, because Liberty plays ODU September 30th, so they automatically have to have a bye that first Saturday of October, that first week of those midweek games. So then they wouldn't play it until at least the Tuesday of the second full week of October. So that you might end up, and then on the back end, you might have to have another bye week at the end. So you might have to end up playing some week 0 games. So we could see Liberty doing that. But yeah, I mean, I would expect it to be out soon. I haven't heard a timeline recently, but typically they've been releasing it around like January or February. So it could be not until then, but I expect to get it by the end of the year.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to see when we play our weekday games. The second question was about the JMU. Do you think, basically JMU's AD alluded to that their season might not be over even though they're not bowl eligible and they're not playing in a championship game. Do you think there's any chance that Liberty and JMU could put together something before a bowl game? Anything like that?
No, there's zero chance Liberty and JMU play. That's something that would have to get approved or, get a waiver signed by the NCAA since JMU is not bowl eligible. Now, JMU could play somebody like a Virginia Tech who had their last game canceled against Virginia. That was just announced today. You could see a Virginia Tech and JMU try to link up for a game, next week or something. But Liberty and JMU will not be playing this year.
And then last one, I'll take this last one, and you can correct me if you think I'm wrong here. What has made the biggest impact for the future trajectory of LU football? Is it winning games? Is it putting us in a position to pay the P5 level salaries that we have for coaches, or something different? I would guess what's made the biggest impact on trajectory of LU football has been, in my opinion, Hugh Freeze. I mean, that single hire. Back when I think we initially, you can correct me if I'm wrong, we weren't paying him, but maybe $2 million when he first got here, maybe less than that, $1 million. So I think just getting Freeze here and he's done it. I mean, there are a lot of factors. So I'm not saying that nothing else has been an impact, but if you're looking at largest impact, it's got to be Freeze, what he's doing with recruiting, building the community, engaging the fan base. Engaging the fan base is huge. I mean, what he's done with our fan base and kind of keeping us all excited has been phenomenal. So hiring Freeze was definitely the biggest. What's set us up for the future besides that? Probably, I would say the commitment by the university for facilities and also just all the resources they put into. So what people don't realize is it's not just facilities. There's a ton of resources that go into a football program like that, and that the school has to commit to, whether it's cost of attendance, all those types of things. They drive whether or not a player wants to come play for football. And when you have 85 scholarships, a lot of times it's about the players you can get to come to play at your school. It's a lot about recruiting. So I would say an impact for the future is just the buildings, the facilities, and the financial commitment they've made to the players. Now, paying your coach, yeah, that's a big deal. Winning bowl games, I mean, yes, nothing replaces winning, is what Coach Freeze likes to say. But in terms of just what's going to impact the future, I think it's the financial commitment by the school, and the biggest impact so far was hiring Hugh Freeze. So how do I do with that question, John? You got anything to add?
Yeah, you hit it out the park. I would have said the exact same two things. And I don't think, I would be remiss to say Hugh Freeze has advanced the Liberty football program by a decade. I mean, what we've been able to do these first 4 years at the FBS level, I don't think any of us ever dreamed would happen. I mean, there's a lot of people, if you go back and remember when we made the decision to join the FBS as an independent, there was a lot of chatter about this is the worst decision Liberty could ever make. This is setting the program back, decades. They haven't had any success at the FCS level. Where Freeze comes in and he's like, I don't care. We're going to win and win a lot. And moving forward, kind of to piggyback off your last comment there, is what's key to the future is winning. Winning cures all. I mean, if Liberty continues, I mean, they've had 8 wins or more in 3 straight seasons now. They won at least 6 games every year back to 2006. They can keep stringing together some 8+ win seasons, throw in a couple 10-win seasons here and there, throw in some conference championships here and there as you move into Conference USA. Winning cures all. I mean, people will look back and say, oh, Liberty was, 10-2 in 2023 and won the Conference USA championship and made it to a bowl game. They're not going to go back and say, well, who did they play? There's some be like, oh, they won 10 games that year. Wow. So just keep winning.
All right. So I think that is it for all the questions. I think that's it for what we had. John, I want you to stay on, and we're going to bring in Richie Longshots, try to get his picks, try to get his everything he's got for this week. So without further ado, let's get to the Liberty line.
Well, hey, everybody. My name is Jason Porter. I'm with Legacy Realty and Development, and it's been a great partnership here with Sea of Red lately. I was with Liberty Athletics as the Associate Athletic Director for Sports Medicine, so took care of all of the healthcare needs and coordinated that with a fantastic staff at Liberty in the athletic department, of course, for about 5 or 6 years, and then moved into real estate full time and with Legacy Realty and Development. And it's just been a great pleasure to continue to stay connected with my Liberty University family and the athletics family as well. Been enjoying serving them. A lot of the graduate assistants and some of the staff that I hired has come back now and has been using me for residential services, which I really appreciate. But certainly do residential real estate as far as buying and selling of homes, of course. And then also we have a strong commercial presence as well. So commercial real estate, obviously a very, very different animal than is residential. But whether it's buying and selling commercial properties or just the leasing of properties, we can help with that as well. So it's been a great opportunity to service our commercial clients as well. And then certainly on the investment front too, a number of folks who have discovered the power of passive income through real estate and investing in real estate with rental properties or fix and flips, those kind of things. And so great joy to serve my clients in that capacity as well. The other thing that I would add too is just a very, very full Rolodex at this point of contractors and subs and just different professional contacts that I've made through the years. So if I can ever provide any of those folks to you and all of a sudden you need a plumber or an electrician or a contractor to build your deck, whatever, I'd certainly be glad to give you access to that Rolodex and those references as well. Because a lot of times it's not exactly who you know, it's who you know that knows how to do the job well. And so I would be glad to provide those services for you as well. So love Flames Nation, love taking care of my Liberty family. And if there's ever anything I can do for you, my contact information is all right here on the screen. And I would love to be a service to you and yours. Thanks so much.
Yeah, ooh, I love that song. I love that song. There he is, looking good, drinking a ton of water. It looks like my good day.
Half a gallon, a day.
Got the Christmas tree
a
up.
gallon a day keeps the COVID away, huh?
Yeah, well, that's what we thought.
How you
Next thing
feeling?
you know, you got two double lines. I'm fine.
All right.
I thought
good.
I had a head cold. I'd been to the last year. I'd been to Florida 4 times. I've been to Vegas, Nashville, trip to Wake Forest. Not so much as a sniffle. And then bam, Thursday night before I leave, COVID. But you might have seen on Twitter last night, the whole debacle of my hotel situation. I accidentally booked the hotel for the weekend before. So when I go to cancel my hotel reservation last week, I realize there's nothing to cancel because I just missed my reservation. So I got the money, but I lied and told them I had COVID for like 2 weeks. But Jim Calhoun, not a dime back. Not a dime back. The money is gone. They are not. So now I can publicly say I might have told them I had COVID for a long time, but I got the money back for the hotel. And for being honest, wasn't a bad weekend to miss. So the excitement and the whole atmosphere, I missed out on that. But when you look at how the games ended up, I might have dodged a bullet.
And you were asymptomatic. Don't come on here talking about lying about that kind of thing. It was Richie
I had a head
shot.
cold.
I like that.
No,
right.
I mean I had a head cold. I had sniffles, coughing. It wasn't. I honestly, like, I really thought it was a sinus infection because I didn't have a fever. So
all right,
and I'm
John,
like, I haven't had it this far.
Have you seen Richie's basketball picks? Like, have you seen how he's doing?
Oh, I've seen it. He's been doing very well, and I noticed how Richie and Nick like to take shots at me and my record. But it's fine. It's fine. I'm coming back. I'll make a comeback. By the time the season's over, I will not be in last place.
It could all just come crashing down. I went 1-2 last night, so it wasn't a great start to the week. But I've set the groundwork for going 500 in basketball. Things could go drastically wrong. And I think with Gonzaga, I'm 15-6-1. So that's a pretty good start. It's a pretty good start.
Yeah. I just was making sure John was following along, and don't make it like Liberty on Friday night that your comeback comes up short and takes it all out of you. Don't get too far behind. All right, Richie, talk to us about Liberty versus New Mexico State. It's Thanksgiving week. Students likely won't be there as much. I'm guessing this will be our lowest attended game of the year. I'm hoping not, but I'm guessing so. We got a rain in the forecast. And Liberty's coming off of what have been 2 tough losses. You gotta wonder what's the team locker room like right now. So yeah, all that to say, all right, what do you have for the Liberty game this week?
Well, I had said that I'm done betting Liberty sides. I'm just going over-unders for the rest of the year. And after just the heartbreak that was Saturday afternoon, when they gave Virginia Tech the 2-point conversion, go to commercial break, someone DMs me and they're like,
that was brutal.
They're like, way to hit that over. I said, let's wait and see what happens. Because I was like, that play's close. I don't know if they're going to review it. They come back from the break and they're like, yep, took the points off, kickoff. I went, you've got to be kidding me. And then no points the rest of the game. An absolute just heartbreaker. I had 2 heartbreakers. App State just could not cover a spread. I don't remember who they were playing, but they let them just march down the field and score a meaningless touchdown with 2 minutes to go. Ruined the massive parlay I had. So it was just like bad beat after bad beat, but it is what it is. So I've given up over-unders now too, which leaves me back to unretiring from betting the side. So Liberty, 1-6 as a favorite this year against the spread. 1-6. The one win was against Old Dominion, and even that we needed a miraculous number 1 play of the day catch to make that a couple lucky plays. And there was the tipped pass that fell right in his hands and went to the house. It's 14 points. Should have had no business covering that game. Should be 0-7 as favorites against the spread this year. 24 points is a lot of points. It is going to be rainy, and it is going to be a quiet game. Obviously, we're going to a bowl game. Ideally, they're going to try to right the ship and go into a bowl game with a little bit more momentum. But 24 points is a lot of points, and I don't foresee that happening when you're 1-6 against the spread. I'm sorry. I'll have people tweeting and DMing me. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we just roll away with it. But for this situation, for looking at the numbers, bet the number, not the team. If I'm looking at the numbers, you can't say, you gave me a blind resume. I'm going to go, yeah, give me the team that doesn't cover as favorites and give me New Mexico State. So that is what it is. Sorry, not sorry.
I just got a text. Your media credential has been revoked for all that criticism of Liberty University.
It's not even critical. Like, I'm thrilled with this season. I'm happy with it. Like, I was not the sky is falling when we lost to UConn. The sky falling when we lost to Virginia Tech. And then, like we said, the grand scheme of things, not that those games don't count, not that those games don't matter, because they absolutely do, but they're not affecting anything when it comes to the season. And I will happily take Arkansas and BYU for those 2 losses. So I no criticism. I love the 4th and 12 call. I didn't love the play call itself, but I liked going for it. So it is what it is.
Yep.
Yeah, right. That's a lot of points though for Liberty to cover. 24. New Mexico State's only allowing like 23 points all season. I mean, how many games has Liberty even scored 30 plus points? Unless you're expecting Liberty to get a shutout against the Aggies. 24 is a lot of points, especially on a wet day, cold day. That's a lot of points.
Yeah. And
so what I'm hearing you guys say is the 74.5 over under seems to be the play here.
Is that a typo?
I think it's a typo. I think
that's got to be a typo, because if that's not a typo, I'm gonna go take out a second mortgage on my house and put it on the under. There's no way.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 54.
I'm not really gonna do that. Anybody listening, bet responsibly.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, Richie gave out a great shout out last week for betting responsibly. All right, Richie, you got 4 more picks here to get to. Let's get the rundown. It looks like a full Saturday slate. That's not your typical Maction and Thursday night. Just didn't see anything you like there, and you're going full Saturday from 12, 3, 7, and 7:30. That looks good.
Very simple. Thursday's Thanksgiving, one of my favorite holidays. It's for NFL. I don't care what anyone says. I know. I think Thursday night's Egg Bowl day. Don't care. Just a higher lane and keep it moving. I don't like any of the Maction games tonight, although I found it's kind of cool. the two teams are playing, the winner gets to go to the Bahamas Bowl. That's what we need in college football. Like, hey, let's put all the cards on the table now. Like, if you win this game, you get to go to this bowl. Like, let's
That's
cut
awesome.
the exaggeration out of it. You know, the guessing game out of it. Like, let's make things fun like that. So that's cool. Fridays for Team USA. I'm also playing in a charity golf tournament all day. And not going to be watching any college football. I'll be watching the soccer game and then having myself a great Friday. So that leaves all of our games on Saturday. So rivalry day. I don't love taking a bunch of rivalry games just because, you know, things get wonky in rivalry games. But we're going to kick things off with Coastal JMU. That's way too many points. Coastal's playing for, I think, the division title. I don't care. They've played well without Grayson. I have no reason to think that they're not going to, you know, keep it close. JMU, I think twice this year they've gone. They were down like almost 20 points, came back and squeak it out at the end. So a team like that has a couple wins where they had to charge back late, you know, they might win, but 14 points is a lot. I also trust Coastal going on the road. Again, it's Thanksgiving weekend. How many fans are going to be at JMU for that game? It's not going to be a crazy.
Yeah, I was going to say Coastal also had an extra week to prepare. You know, they were supposed to play UVA last week, and that game got canceled. So they had an extra week to prepare and get ready for the Dukes. While JMU, I think, Richie, you even texted me during the Liberty game that at least JMU is getting beat bad. And then I checked my scores after the game and like, man, they won. What happened here?
Yeah.
So JMU was in a dogfight late Saturday, and while Coastal was just sitting home down at the beach.
Yeah. So I'll absolutely take it. Again, Coastal's playing for something. So next up, Iron Bowl, Auburn, Alabama. Auburn might have a little bit of an offense now. Cadillac Williams has them humming, and 48.5 points in an Iron Bowl. Well, like it's what Alabama not going to try to score points. There's a good chance this is Bryce Young's last game because there's going to be a lot of Alabama players that are not going to play in the Mayo Bowl. So
If Brian Harsin had recruited anything and had any type of roster and gotten anything in the transfer portal, he wouldn't have been out by a year and a half. That roster is depleted. Yes, they've played hard for Cadillac the last few games, but whenever you get Iron Bowl and you get Alabama and Auburn, nothing about your bet should be about the emotions of the game. Everything about your bet should be about the rivalry. And I think that the Cadillac emotions are going to be overtaken by the Iron Bowl emotions, and Alabama is going to be able to raise to that same level of desperation, and we need this. I just don't think Brian Harsin had enough of a roster there. Matter of fact, it is so depleted that if I were a head coach, I would not want to go to Auburn and try to rebuild that roster. It is
I agree.
An uphill battle there.
If anyone is listening or knows anyone,
that's right.
and you hear about Auburn, I don't think it's worth it. But
not worth it at all.
Not worth it.
Nope.
No,
what's
the fun in Auburn?
That's my point. Is Brian Harsin left maybe 10 SEC guys on that roster, and everybody else is transferred out or didn't. He couldn't get in there. So it's a terrible roster, terrible situation, and I think that the Cadillac mojo's run out, and Alabama's going to put it on them. So I disagree with you.
Yeah, it could be.
You're taking the over. Oh yeah, You're taking the
49
over.
nothing. Thank you. Thanks for coming. We'll see you bowl week.
All right, what do you got for LSU, Texas A&M? Is this a rivalry week? Like, what was the Texas A&M? Who did Texas A&M used to play in their rivalry week?
Somebody in the
They're
Big
still
12.
delusional. Yeah, probably. I think Tech.
Probably
Texas
right?
Tech.
Tech makes sense.
I think LSU used to play Arkansas this week.
Yeah,
that's
back
right.
before
that's
the
right.
SEC expanded.
So why do you like LSU minus 9.5?
Because Texas A&M has quit. They are just a bad football team. Their team is in shambles. The locker room is a mess. Do you think they want to play this game? Do you see how many people were at the Texas A&M game last week? I don't care they were playing UMass. There was nobody there. It was embarrassing. Yes, this game means nothing for LSU, but they're not going to lay an egg and lose to Texas A&M before they go play Georgia next week. Like, Brian Kelly is a good enough coach to not let that happen, that they are going to get out to a decent lead. They should be up. That's a good first half play. I don't know what the first half line is, but definitely jump on LSU early. Even if they let the foot off the gas, they're up 21. Is Texas A&M going to score? Is Texas A&M going to score points against a fellow SEC team? No, they're not. So I'm not having it. I don't see it at all. So I think LSU 9.5, double digits. Pretty much, probably my favorite pick of the week.
Same. I will reiterate that if that job comes open, and if you know anybody listening, that is not a good roster right now. It would take a whole lot of work, and the locker room's in shambles because you got freshmen getting $700,000-800,000 NIL money. You got defensive linemen leading the team in tackles getting $0 of NIL money. You got it's just a complete mess down there. Would not want to take that over. Not interested. All right,
LSU minus 5.5 first half.
Love it. That'll probably be what I actually bet is that first half. Also, speaking of not, reasons not to go places, Malik, he didn't want to stay at Auburn. Why would anyone want to go to Auburn? So it's just another reason, feather in the cap. Notre Dame, USC, another kind of rivalry game. USC, kind of a wagon. They have a shot to sneak into the playoffs. They're not going to sneak into the playoffs with 2 losses. And Notre Dame, I don't think is very good. They have beaten up on a very poor ACC this year. I mean, I'd have to – I know they just beat Boston College, who, no offense, one of my best friends is a BC alumni, but BC stinks. And Notre Dame has lost multiple games this year to terrible teams. Pull up their schedule real quick. This is great podcasting. They beat Navy by 3, big time. The service academies are not very good this year. Respect the troops, though. They beat UNLV. They lost to Stanford. They beat BYU. They beat UNC by 7, which that wasn't a great win. Like, Notre Dame hasn't had to play anyone, and they are going to play a potential Heisman Trophy candidate with Caleb Williams. So this is going to be his Heisman game. The Heisman Trophy race is still wide open. He's a dark horse. He's like 10-1 when I last saw. He's putting up numbers the last 2 weeks. They're going to hang it. It's at USC. I think they're going to score at will. And I just look, all right, spreads 5, over under 62.5. So you're telling me that Notre Dame's going to score 28 points? No, not happening. And even if they do, USC is going to score 42. So give me that minus, anything with a touchdown I like. Even if the game goes to overtime, you got a shot to still cover. And take a look at that year to date. Someone's creeping towards 500. So just when we get close, I just piss down my leg. I go 1-4, and it all goes downhill. So I'm feeling pretty good. I think the end game is for me to be at 500 for Liberty's bowl game. If I can be at 500 for Liberty's bowl game and have that be my last pick of the year, where all my eggs are in the basket to go 500, it'll be the most entertaining outcome, where it's either 500 or bust, and it's all on the Flames.
All right. I'm not saying that you won't be able to make the bowl trip or you won't be able to make the bowl episode, but this is our final regular season episode. And I wanted to just thank you for all you've done for the podcast. The people's champion. People absolutely love you and go crazy every time I mention your name on Twitter. So if I'm having a bad day and just want to get my Twitter dopamine up in my mentions, I just put Richie Longshot's name in there, and it's just like, woo, the whole day is just made up of fun. And so, man, hey, really appreciate it. Really stinks that you couldn't make it last week, but looking forward to seeing you down the bowl game and watching you on the basketball show. That's been a lot of fun too. So appreciate all the work you're doing, and keep it up, man.
Thank you guys. I think you texted me and like, I know, I did a recording thing last year, I think for homecoming. And then you texted me in August, like, you want to do it again? And, it started with me just recording in my dining room. And then we were kind of like, all right, I think we got something good here. Like, let's get on live. Let's make this a thing. And I think it's gone well. And I know we've already talked a little bit about next year, and contract negotiations are in a great spot. So we're looking forward to getting that finalized, and got some good stuff planned for next year.
Hey, similar to the Auburn and Texas A&M situations, there might be another couple of situations with a website or two popping up for you here in the near future. just take a look, take a long, hard look, and see if that's something you really want to do, or if you want to stay with what John labeled the flagship earlier. And I love it. So anyway, hey man, appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the NFL.
Happy Thanksgiving,
and we'll talk
guys.
to you soon.
Happy Thanksgiving.
We'll see ya.
All right. All right, John. Let's wrap it up here. It is dinner time. It's 5:38. We're recording a little early tonight. I'll throw the last word to you.
Go Flames. Let's get a good win this week, against New Mexico State. Regardless what the line is, I don't care. Let's just win, right? I mean, you'd hate to lose this game and drop 3 straight going into the bowl game. That's what happened last year. Let's get a win this week, get to 9 wins on the season, have a couple weeks to kind of take a deep breath, get ready for a bowl game. And again, we said this the last couple of years. You have got everybody listening. If it's within your means and it's depending on where the bowl game is. I mean, if it's in Hawaii or something, might be hard to get to, but do your best to get there. Talk to your family now. Talk to your wife now. Talk to your husband now. Talk to your kids, your parents, and just prepare for bowl week. Spend it with the Flames. There's no better way to do it. I've done it all 3 years so far. Been fortunate to do that so far this the first 3 bowl games. Every one has been memorable for its own reasons, some better than others, but they've all been a lot of fun, and you won't miss it, whether it's in Myrtle Beach or Boca or Tampa or Idaho. Although if it's in Idaho, I might not go. But make sure you can do your best to try to get to the bowl game with the Flames.
Awesome. Love bowl games. Hey guys, like and subscribe this YouTube. It really helps promote this video up and other people can see it. It really helps our brand and our platform on YouTube. It's something we've been trying to build up for the last couple of months. Really appreciate the like and the subscribe there. As always,
I mean, on the YouTube channel, it's the best. If you like and subscribe there, you're gonna get notifications when we upload new content. And our YouTube channel is the first place you will hear any of Liberty's press conferences, whether it's Coach McKay, Coach Freeze, pregame, postgame, middle of the week. It doesn't matter. It's always going to be the first one is on our YouTube channel, even before we can get it on the website, because that's the first place we go is to upload it there. So make sure you're subscribed there. You get notifications when it's there, and you can listen to it before I even listen to it back myself.
John, we had one more question come in the chat. You got 20 seconds. Has the QB been named for this week, the starter?
Well, it is Tuesday afternoon, and unfortunately, due to it being Thanksgiving, which we're thankful to have Thanksgiving, right? There will be no more media access this week. Freeze said on Monday he was hopeful to watch film of practice Monday and Tuesday and be decided on his starter at the end of the day Tuesday. I did hear that at practice today, all 3 quarterbacks were getting equal reps. So Caden Salter, Charlie Brewer, and Jonathan Bennett were all getting equal reps today in practice, and based on whoever performed the best, that's who's going to be starter on Saturday.
Awesome. Great stuff, John, as always. Hey, this is kind of a throwback, old school. Love spending the entire podcast with you, and we'll do it again sometime soon. Hey, happy Thanksgiving, man, and have a good week.
Happy Thanksgiving. Go Flames.